Hey, it's Ryan over at 2 Minute Tennis. And if you're struggling with control on your one-handed backhand, I want to give you a really simple way to improve the accuracy and dependability of this shot. Many players, when they watch Wawrinka or Dimitrov or Federer, they see this flare of a finish where the racket, if they're right-handed, flares off to the right. And if you look at Dimitrov, he basically touches his hands back behind him. It's an incredible display of flexibility, but I can tell you that if you're copying that and you're struggling with control on your one-hander, there's actually a simple fix that can actually zero in on the problem, and that is your ability to regulate where your strings are pointing when you actually strike the ball, and it shows up in a different type of finish. Let me show you what this looks like. So rather than letting the racket fly off to the right of your hand, I actually want you to try to keep the racket, if you're right-handed, to the left of your hand. This is what's called the left side of the letter V. So let me show you this from the contact point. At contact, there's an angle between my arm and the racket. Now, it doesn't matter who you are, Wawrinka, Justine Henin-Ardenne from years ago, at contact, there's an angle. Well, if you keep that angle intact throughout the finish, and you actually finish with the racket to the left side of what's called the letter V, if you think about the letter V, my racket is tilted to the left side of that letter V. What that actually does is it keeps that angle intact, making sure that you had the proper angle when you actually contacted the ball. So many players, when they hit with a one-hander, they snap the wrist, they roll the forearm, and they struggle knowing and regulating where their strings are pointing. Rather than letting the racket go and almost like you're casting or you're just letting the wrist flick, what I want you to do is actually keep the wrist position intact. Now, I typically get comments when I make videos like this where you say, oh, this is not what the pros do. Well, to be honest with you, this is what the pros do in certain situations. Return of serve, when the opponent's at the net and they have to quick react to a ball, when they're hitting a passing shot down the line, every single pro on tour, male and female, has kept the racket in that appropriate side of the letter V in certain situations. And as an amateur, this is an easy hack in order to create more consistency and confidence in your one-hander. So what I want you to do when you're done is have the appropriate side of the letter V. If you're right-handed, when you're done, finish with the racket to the left side of your hand. If you're a lefty, you'll just do the opposite. You'll finish with the racket to the right of your hand. Keep your body sideways. Don't let your body open up, but keep your body sideways and finish in the appropriate side of the V, and there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy over at 2minutetennis.net. Talk to you soon.